We have a new best team in the NFL, and I sensed it coming. I felt it coming. That's why as soon as they started winning again, I put them right in my top 3 in my power rankings every single week since their ascension from their bye week and their 3-game losing streak. And the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL. They have everything you need, everything you want, from pass rushers to defenders that thump. They have a head coach who can get deep in his bag and utilize every single weapon on the field that they have at their disposal. And they have a quiet assassin who looks like he's going to a home economics class. And his name is Brock Purdy. And what the San Francisco 49ers did yesterday is the most impressive win of the season, with all due respect to the Eagles going into Kansas City and winning on a Monday night in the mist. What the San Francisco 49ers did was go into Philadelphia and fall down 6-0 while struggling on offense, having barely even a first down's worth of total yards. And you could sense it coming. Again, that is now 5 straight quarters of frustration for the San Francisco 49ers in Philadelphia, dating all the way back to an NFC championship game that they circled right away. And the one who did the circling with his mouth is Deebo Samuel. And what he did yesterday, after talking the talk of calling James Bradbury trash and coming out and saying that had Brock Purdy not been knocked out of the football game in Philadelphia in the first quarter of the NFC Championship game, leaving them with Josh Johnson, then eventually Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback, that it would have been a different result. And the answer to that, rightfully so, from Philadelphia was, yeah, okay, tell it to the judge. Whatever. Who cares? We went to the Super Bowl. You did not. Hassan Reddick was the personification of what people call people at his position. A game wrecker. He wrecked the game. Too bad. Should have protected him. And by the way, prior to him being out, the head coach, who's on the screen right there, should have challenged a play on 4th down that would have given San Francisco the ball rather than Philadelphia the lead and the momentum. All that stuff. But he's the one who was doing the talking. And did he come back and walk the walk? Oh, yeah. He ran the run, whatever you want to do. He did absolutely all the Deebo things that Deebo Samuel does, which is take a ball and just absolutely jam it down the defense's throat and run straight through them to an end zone and say, try and catch me. The Deebo Samuel that we had not seen all year long the last couple of weeks has shown up, and that makes this team even tougher because there's Ayuk, and then there's Kittle, and then there's Christian McCaffrey. And the guy who is absolutely perfect and on point is Brock Purdy, who had all the pressure on him again. This is the guy who's supposed to be the difference maker. Deebo Samuel even said it. Hey, let's see what happens if Brock Purdy is upright for all 4 quarters and we're healthy. Well, we did. Holy smokes. Guy who's coming off of the perfect passer rating, right? Guy who had a perfect passer rating for the first time since Montana and Young. Okay, sure. A lot of folks might say that. Glad you did that, against Tampa. And then, sure, we saw what you did on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night at Seattle. Okay. How about at Philadelphia? How does 314 yards and 4 touchdowns for a passer rating that's 148.8 sound to you? And then the guys who he found also, Juwan Jennings. Okay, let me tell you this. In the same way that Seattle, back in the day when it was Legion of Booming and Russ was being Russ and he was cooking, that if the defense scored a touchdown, you knew that was a wrap. If the defense scored a touchdown, you couldn't beat Seattle. I'll just tell you this. If Juwan Jennings scores a touchdown, it's going to be tough to beat the San Francisco 49ers because Ayuk's going to get his and Deebo's going to get his and eventually Kittle will get his and McCaffrey's going to get his. And Deebo had 1 rushing and 2 receiving. Come on. That is all she wrote there, man. McCaffrey had 1 rushing. Deebo had 1 rushing. Deebo had 2 receiving. Ayuk had 1 receiving. Jennings had 1 receiving. Good night. Certainly when the defense is showing up. And Brock Purdy, way to go, brother. He must have been thinking about this every single moment of his rehab. Because that's what you think of. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers, every single moment of his rehab's thinking, I'm going to get back to practice. I'm going to play football this year. And I do hope to see that, even though I don't know why he'd do that, but that's for another day. But a lot of people think Purdy doesn't think this way because, again, just look at him. Honestly, that's the way people feel. Just look at him. He's Bambi with fangs. This is after the game.
I mean, it was sort of in my mind. Yeah, man, I got hurt here. That was this year, late in January. But was it going to be the revenge game or anything like that? No. For me, it was week 13. We're going into it's a new year, a hostile environment. We needed this game. We need this game. And obviously we have some really important games coming up too. So that's where I was at with that. I didn't want to get distracted by I got to go back and show everybody what could have happened or what could have been. Got a new team. This is 2023, and that's where my mind was at.
They have to be out of their skulls ecstatic. Have to be. Because he's the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL with the rookie contract he has. Put it all together.
No, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl.
But not seventh round. The greatest in this day and age to win in the NFL with a rookie quarterback is huge. You pointed it out, Chris. I understand. He won a Super Bowl. Guess what? This guy on a rookie contract.
You're calling it?
This guy, well, I mean, I predicted it. I've already done it. Okay. I've already said twice San Francisco's winning it all here on the show prior to the Thanksgiving show. And then on the Thanksgiving NFL Network show. I did it, yeah. San Francisco is my pick to win it this year. I had Chiefs over the 49ers going into the season. You gave me a mulligan 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I took it and repeated it on NFL Network. San Francisco over Kansas City. So, but what I'm saying is he's got the greatest rookie contract in the history of rookie contracts for a quarterback playing like this.
Yeah, what's he make?
I guess which might have been a more artful way of me saying what I'm attempting to say. And then on top of it, this is a franchise that made the wrong decision in a draft that the Jets are still trying to deal with by choosing Zach Wilson before Trey Lance. The Bears might punt too. Your team is still in New England is potentially ready to punt Mac Jones. I mean, he's third. Totally both Zach and Mac string. Are both third string inactive.
It's over.
Unless there's a whole slew of injuries. They're not playing football.
Yeah, it's over.
And this team made the same mistake, and nobody's talking about it because of Brock Purdy. And rightfully so. He's unbelievable. And this is what the coach had to. He's got to be out of his mind, too, because this team was down 6-0. They got Dre Greenlaw, one of their best defenders, ejected because he makes contact with the other team's security head. All right? The security chief is out there trying to break up fights because it landed right in his lap.
Big Dom, Rich. So
Big Dom takes one in the chops.
Some respect.
A little bit in the chops, a graze in the chops. Dre Greenlaw's gone. The whole rest of the building's going nuts because then the Eagles score a touchdown and the San Francisco 49ers take over the game from there on out.
Yeah, like, cool. Didn't matter.
So they literally, figuratively took Philadelphia's best punch after Dre Greenlaw grazed Dom's grill with, like an eighth of a punch. And they are now one game behind Philadelphia in the standings, which they could easily make up in the next week or two because Philly's got to go to Dallas next, and they want their blood. They want their pound of flesh. And then they're in Seattle, where anything can happen. You think the last 2 minutes of the Sunday night game in Green Bay was nuts? Just put that in Seattle, and that'll be on steroids, where things go crazy all the time up there. It's like a different planet.
No normal games.
This is what Kyle Shanahan's got to be out of his mind thrilled.
I mean, I just loved how excited and ready our team was for this game. And when you are that amped up and ready to go, and for, all the games are the same, but we understand how good that team is. We understand their record, and so that makes it always a little bit bigger. And our guys are really excited for the challenge. And when you come out with that much energy and that ready to go, and things don't go well for a quarter, that was the thing I was most proud of. Our guys were able to weather the storm. I know it seems like there's panic, but you never felt it when they came to the sidelines. And usually when you carry yourself that way, if you can just stick in it, usually good things happen after, and they did.
Unreal. Spectacular. San Francisco now goes home and can finish off Seattle, maybe even for the playoffs because of the way Green Bay and the Rams are playing. And then San Francisco is at Arizona, the one that they have left that is going to be absolutely bonkers dynamite. You want to talk about measuring sticks and potentially a Super Bowl preview to finish up, to wrap up Week 16. Last game to finish up the triple header on Christmas night on Monday, where there's going to be a Peacock game. The Buffalo Bills in that taking on the Chargers on a Saturday. Then the Sunday slate, I'll be doing the Christmas Eve night game in Denver with New England at Denver. And then the triple header, you've got Baltimore in San Francisco. And then after that, at Washington, home for the Rams. And Arizona's technically in the mountain time zone at present. They didn't fall back.
They never did.
When we switched clocks. But you could look at that and say their trip to Washington, outside of that, they're staying pretty much at home until they might have to take a flight to Vegas to play the ultimate big one. Superb. A++. San Francisco 49er fans, you have every right to be ecstatic